Being a first-time homeowner can be very stressful and overwhelming. There's a lot that goes into it, but on today's episode, we're gonna figure out how to take garage doors out of that equation. Welcome to the Garage Authority Podcast, powered by A1. I'm your host, Jonithan Phillips, and today we have a very, very special guest, the one and only Jacey Clark. How you doing?
Good, happy to be here.
Yes, thanks for coming on. So a little bit of background on Jacey and the episode in its essence today. We're gonna flip the script. So Jacey's new to the company. She works in the marketing department. And there's a bit of a difference when we bring a guest on, and it's me that's been doing garage doors for 10 years and another tech, and she's not a tech. So she has a different mindset and outlook whenever it comes to questions about garage doors, and that's what today's episode is going to be. It's going to be about Jacey because freshly engaged. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How's it feeling, girl?
Good.
Yeah?
It's so crazy. I'm wedding planning. We just bought a house. There's so much going on right now. So
that's the big part about this. You are a new homeowner.
Yes.
A lot of our listeners, being homeowners, we get a different aspect that's a little bit more relatable to them as far as the questions.
Absolutely.
So I guess the first thing would be, as far as your experience as a new homeowner in the garage door and working here, what type of questions would you have for me as a professional?
Yeah, I mean, I have definitely like 100 that I can think about right now, but it's overwhelming stepping into a house and, it's an older home that I moved into. So it's 1970 something in the 70s.
Right.
And, the first thing that I noticed since working here was, oh gosh, I think we need a new garage door, and I don't know what to look for. I mean, I can take the bits and pieces that I've heard from things here, but the biggest thing for me has been, are the springs fine? It's pretty quiet, but is it rusty? I just have no idea. So the first thing for me is, for any homeowner, when they step into a new house, what are the first initial things that you should be looking at when you see your garage door to know if there's any red flags?
Totally. So anyone that has a garage door in a new home, or even an old home, right? The first thing that you should probably do when you get out to your garage is doing a balance test. So what that looks like is, if the garage has an overhead operator, that you would go out there and there should be some sort of pull tab. This is a manual release or emergency release. What this does is, instead of the operator telling the door when to go up and down, now we're going to disengage it and move it by hand. Now you want to do this with the door on the ground. Now, reason being, if the door's super heavy, and you have it up in the air and you release it, now we have a giant guillotine that's coming down. So we don't want that. Right? So I want to pull that manual release, and then I want to lift the door by hand. Now, your track at the home, is it like vertical and then it goes horizontally overhead?
Yeah. Yep.
It's typical for residential. What you want to do is, you notice that your door is in panels. It's usually in fourths or fifths, right? And every time that panel breaks through that curved part right there, you want to be able to let the door go and it stay perfectly in place.
Okay.
Two things that are bad. One, you start to lift up and that door is just shooting up in the air and going towards the back of the track. That means that it's either too strong of a spring, so the wrong spring, or they put too many turns on the spring, which is going to break your operator, and hopefully it doesn't come up so hard that it flies out of the back of the track and land on the ground. Now, if you let it go and it falls to the ground, that means that, one, could be wrong springs, could be that the door springs are losing tension, all these things, but it means they need to be replaced, not adjusted. Because we don't know how, you can kind of guess how long springs have been up there, but companies reuse parts. During COVID, all the date stamps on stuff got mixed up because a lot of things were recycled. So to start messing with turns as a homeowner or anything like that, that's when you get a garage door company to come out there. Now, that's the mechanical part that has it moving. You also, whenever you move that door by hand, like, what are you hearing?
Yeah, right. And I think for me, the door was so silent. And so that's where I was confused, honestly.
Right.
I thought, it sounds fine, but I don't know if it looks fine. And you hear these people who have had their garage door for 25 years that they've never had looked at. So for me, being educated as I worked here, that was the number one thing where I was kind of just, I don't know what to do. It sounds fine. So that's where my question kind of stemmed in with, is it because it's so quiet? Is that fine? Is it not? And so with that balance test, I think that's definitely something that I wish I would have known stepping into the house.
Yeah, balance test. And the heavier a door is, the quieter it's going to be. You know what I mean? Like those springs that are moving the door. And if you, let's say I did have a door that was heavy, but I put really good rollers on it. Like, it's going to make the door quiet. But did we adjust the spring problem, that muscle that's going to move the door?
Right.
No, we just kind of covered a symptom. And if that spring, if it's losing tension and about to break, we could go to NASA right now and design the world's best garage door roller in the world. It's for naught if the spring's not going to lift the door itself. So noise over time, yes, that's going to come up. But there are some variables, like I said, with the door being a little bit heavier, some good rollers, you can quiet up a door quite a bit. But that spring health is what you need to worry about. Okay. And I would say a second thing to look after is, that noise factor we talked about, the balance test, is checking the operator. So the brain of it that tells when the door to move. So those operators, here the standard at A1 is 0 to 5 pounds. We want to be that true balance as much as possible. Some companies out there let it go up to 10, but we're like, we don't want to risk. Like, we try and do everything as perfect as possible. Operators in particular, because they're only supposed to lift up that much weight, there's a lot of things that can wear out if you don't pay attention to that balance test. Now, a couple of things are, it's either going to have a chain or a belt. And you said your home was like the 1960s or 70s?
70s, yeah.
Potentially, when homes are that old, you have some that are like screw drive. They're really loud. I think you would know if you had it. You want to be able to check on the health of that. If that chain's like rusted out, then eventually it's going to break. Or if that belt, you see that it's starting to fray and then you can see like metal cords in it, that's really bad. Now, that's going to go all the way down to the motor head itself, and there's a gear and sprocket in the top of it. If you got up on a ladder and looked at the gear and sprocket, so the little spindle on the top where it's going around, and you saw metal shavings and stuff like that, that means that thing's about to snap off.
Okay.
Now, imagine if we didn't do a balance test, and then that thing that's moving the door up through the air, just kind of trying to control it a little bit, if that snapped and the door's heavy, what do you think happens?
Comes down.
Comes down. Once again, we have a guillotine thing. It's a domino system. I mean, the smallest thing from one roller to a cracked hinge to tracks being off a little bit, that ends up to a door going sideways and a roller busts out of the track and could potentially, what type of car do you drive?
Honda CRV.
Honda CRV. Do you park in the garage?
I don't, but my fiance parks his truck, his beloved truck.
His beloved truck. I think your fiance would be really upset if the garage door became a blanket for his truck on top of it. You know what I mean? And then the last things to check are when you look at the bottom of your door, are there safety eyes at the bottom?
There are.
There are. Whenever to check those, just get like a broom or something, and as the door's going through it, don't actually put your hand down there or your foot. There's some risk. Just put a broom in front of one of those safety eyes real quick, and it should stop and pop back up while it's trying to close. Okay. So you want to make sure that's functioning. And then also what you want to do with that safety eye is they're a bit finicky as far as like you can get them lined up just right, but it's not perfect. And then as the door moves, the track can vibrate, or maybe the sun's hitting it just right, so it pops back up. So what you want to do with that is you want to get you or the fiance, and you kind of want to, there's an amber and a green light typically, and that green light's going to be the one, if anything's impeding it, you'll see that green light start to flash.
Okay.
So solid green is like good to go, But if you flex that track just a little bit back and forth that it's on and it starts to flash, that means that it's just barely holding alignment and you need to adjust it. So usually it has a screw or a bracket that you can kind of bend or finagle. And you want to be able to kind of wiggle it back and forth and then wiggle the safety eye up and down, kind of a cross pattern, and it still hold that alignment. You know what I mean? So you don't have issues with it. And then your final big test that you want to do as a homeowner, get a 2x6 board, and not a 2x4 because they're a little too thin, but a 2x6 board. And when the door's open, you put a 2x4 at the bottom of the door. Now we're going to check forces. So this is what your operator's going to push or pull through, right? There's a limit on it to where it's like, oh, I'm running into too much before we break something or hurt something. So you put that 2x6 on the ground, you run the door. What should happen is that door should hit that 2x4 and go up pretty quick. Like it should hit it maybe about a quarter second to a half a second and then pop back up.
Okay.
So lots of words, but balance test, safety eyes, forces, checking that gear and sprocket, and whether there's a chain or belt, the actual health of those things are probably the biggest things you can do as a homeowner.
Okay. So My next question for you is, we moved into a house that has pretty strict HOA.
Okay.
And the second we moved in, we were hit with an inspection and it required a new door to be put in.
Mm.
I've never worked with an HOA and ordering a garage door. My question to you is, what does that process look like when working with A1? Do you go to the HOA first? Do we go to A1 first? I mean, what does the homeowner do? Because
Right.
I have no idea.
Typically, the easiest thing you can do as a homeowner is go to your HOA first. As a garage door professional, it's very easy for me to go into a neighborhood and know what the limits are as far as style. Like, if every door is the same, okay, we're a little strict. I've gone to HOAs to where you can have fun with colors. You can have fun with like short panels, so like little squares, or long panel, but they kind of draw the line at like beadboards where it has lines in it. And I've gone to other HOAs that are, you know, they get so far into it, especially in like condos, like they'll be as particular as like the type of insulation. So even though the door looks the same on the outside, they want it the same on the inside as well,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So there's a wide range. So typically what happens is a homeowner would reach out to the HOA first.
Okay.
And then typically what that HOA is going to do is they're going to want to see a quote from us that, one, what is the door, what is the style of it, which is cool because at A1, we take a picture of your home and then we superimpose the door. So it's like a photo of what that door is going to look like. And then the HOA would approve it, and then we would get that door installed for you.
Okay.
Now, there is sometimes where people are more involved with their HOA, and they'd get me the number directly to their HOA president. And then in that neighborhood, once I've established that, we just kind of take care of it for the homeowner if we've done a lot of work in that area. But like I said, mostly depends on the HOA. But first step would be reaching out to that HOA and say, here's the plan. What estimates do you need? We have a company that's going to show some pictures of what the door looks like, and then the HOA would approve it.
Okay, got it. That is helpful because I had no idea.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I was tasked with doing that, and I just have no idea.
Yeah, for sure. We'll just get, and then sometimes people call us out. We'll give the estimate, and then you can go to the HOA with it.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just Burger King, have it your way.
But it's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really simple. Like the only issues that I've ever had, and like I said, depends on the HOA, is maybe it takes them a long time because they have a lot of other stuff that they're dealing with. But it's really just waiting for the approval. But most of the time, it's a picture and an estimate that they want.
Okay. My next question to you
Yes.
is, as a female, it's pretty intimidating. I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but for myself, dealing with any sort of maintenance or service, whether it's an oil change on my car or someone's coming to look at the kitchen or the garage door, you know, you never know when you're being taken advantage of or people are just, you know, kind of BSing you and saying this is what it's going to cost. What are some red flags that, I mean, not just women, but I'm going to speak for myself and my experience, that you can look for in the home service industry that people might be sort of a walking red flag?
Right. I'm going to start a little bit out in the ether on it. Is from what I've seen, because working here at A1 Garage Door, and we partner with a lot of other companies. There's electrical companies that I know and do training with, and plumbing companies, is I look for female leadership at home service companies.
Okay.
Personally, like we have a lot of female leadership here. They understand that. We have Dre, Elisa Imperial, Bree. I mean, Allison's here all the time. As far as our parts department, it's completely run by women. Like there's a lot of women here. And you can see that on websites typically, right? You can look up Andrea Davis and know that she runs the show here in Phoenix. So that, if that makes you feel more comfortable, that's a really good option. You know, a woman, whether it's woman owned or you see that there's a lot of women in leadership and, you know, that there's female techs at that company, if that makes you more comfortable. Another thing, like red flag technician wise, kind of more bare bones what you were asking, is I think it's when technicians don't ask questions. If a technician comes to your home and they just walk in and say, this is what has to happen and here's your estimate, and it's only been 5 minutes, and they haven't asked you any questions whatsoever about like how long you're going to stay in the home. What's your goal? Is this an investment property? Are you going to be here for 2? You know what I mean? They're just kind of like, this is it.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not really catering, because a garage door is a garage door. The difference in a garage door in particular, and this goes for all home service industry, is there's a degree of parts. I'm not going to sell you a lifetime parts steel back door, you know, see doors get up to $40,000 if you say that you're moving out in 2 months.
Right.
But a lot of companies come in, they're like, here's our most expensive thing, here you go. Like there needs to be a reasoning and a result on why you would want that. Also, like when men come into the house and they're just like, is there a dude I can talk to about this? Like, you're a homeowner, you know what I mean?
Right.
That, and also if people aren't respecting that maybe you want to talk to someone, maybe someone in your family, or you want to talk to your fiance, or you kind of want to give time to research, and they're like, no, you don't need to do that. Like, no, let's wait till you're completely comfortable with it.
Right.
There's some things that are urgent, like, you know, if you have like a water issue or, you know, HVAC being here in Phoenix where it's like, okay, we got to kind of move fast on that.
Right.
But if people are pressuring you and you genuinely like, I need some trusted advisors that I know well, then don't go with that. And then my third and final one, look at the Google reviews, dude. Look at the Google reviews. And honestly, in the way that you spoke about it, try and look for Google reviews, and then you can kind of tell by the name if it's a male or female leaving that review. Like if you see a lot of customer complaints, and you can type in like code words or like keywords in the Google review that comes up. So type in just like made me feel uncomfortable, and you'll see if there's reviews. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To where, and you'll see if I got 5 females that are on there that are saying uncomfortable, uncomfortable because I searched that keyword. Probably not the company.
Right.
I'd say those are probably my 3 biggest ones.
Okay. I did not know you could do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to start doing that in everything that I look at now. Wow. Okay. My final question is, you know, prior to working here, you just hear that people don't think about their garage doors. And now I think about it all the time. It's all I pay attention to now. But how often should your garage door really be serviced? And can you kind of go into, you know, I know what a tune-up is, but for people that are watching this, what is a tune-up? Why it's beneficial to your door? Why you should be getting regular maintenance for just, you know, my knowledge and everyone out there listening? Like, tell me the benefits.
Right. So bare bones, that 3-point balance test and like just getting like a silicone or lithium based or anything that says garage door, you should probably be doing that as a homeowner every 3 months. Okay. Like if you really want to make the garage door last as long as possible, if you're putting good money into it, I don't care if that's, you know, a few thousand at Home Depot or to like a professional company to where doors get up there. Like you spent good money.
Right.
Just make it a weekend thing, such as picking up the yard or doing weeds. You know what I mean? As far as a professional coming out, your basic residential garage door once a year.
Okay.
Now, you also have to look at your garage door, and there's some garage doors, I mean, you look at it, it's got ironclad like built into it and wood overlay, and it's this huge door. I mean, those doors 600, 800 plus pounds. Those types of doors, and you look up there and there's more than 2 springs, twice a year.
Okay.
Twice a year have somebody come out, because it's bad when big doors fall. I mean, it's even hard for me by myself. If there's a 800-pound door and it's hung up in the air above your fiance's love of his life truck, you know what I mean?
Right.
Even me doing this for 10 years, like I got to go get like 1,000-pound rated ratchet straps and start doing some Spider-Man stuff with the door just to try and save the truck. Like we could have avoided all of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, as far as a tune-up, so when that professional actually comes out, probably explaining a tune-up. So a door really has like 4 main components to it. So there's the operator, which is the brain. There's the counterbalance system, so like the springs, which is the muscle. There's the track that guides it up and down. And then there's the actual door body itself. So like the panels, the hinges that hold it together, the rollers, struts or bracers for support, ORBs so the operator doesn't rip it apart, things like this. What should be done, and on every single one, is one, they're going to do a 3-point balance test. They're going to weigh the door while it's under full tension to make sure that we're keeping it at that 5 pounds and down. What they should be doing is checking the level of every single bearing, of every piece of track, of every jam bracket, making sure at the back that we're not cattywampus, like everything's plumb and square so we're not wearing out one side compared more to another. They should be lubing all the bearings, the hinges, the rollers. They should also be checking those safety components of the operators, making sure your limits aren't too far or not enough. They should be doing forces. They should, depending on the year of the motor, they should be taking it apart and actually checking that gear and sprocket on the inside.
Okay.
Not to mention also some garages, like I've seen new motors that have been up there for a year. I still take the cover off because squirrels, chipmunks, bugs, I've seen fires start because
Wow.
they get hot in there. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And honestly, a tune-up, if you have a guy that comes out there and during the tune-up, you hear 2 minutes of an impact gun and you go out there and you just see like a yellowish stained lubricants all over the floor, the back wall, your car, and it's just 10 minutes and done. That was not a tune-up. A proper tune-up, and if you actually check everything, it's mostly around like 45 minutes.
Wow.
I would
okay.
say is a fast one. The one that we do, it's 154. We call it the 151, but we added a couple more steps to it. That's how many individual parts. And when we tighten stuff, we do it by hand to make sure it doesn't get stripped out. You take pictures of everything that's leveled. You check the spring condition. You check the stationary cone, the winding cone, just more technical parts of a spring.
Mhm.
And it's just like, okay, you could spend a tune-up at a company and do that 15-minute thing, but for around that same price that we take an hour and a half, 2 hours to really check your door, like more bang for your buck, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the questions that I have.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I
Yeah.
appreciate all your help. And I think there's a lot that people need to be educated on, and not that they're going to sit and just listen to garage doors, but I do think people should take the time. And if there's things in your house, especially like the garage door, that's the biggest moving part in your home.
Yeah.
You should learn about it because it's going to just cost you a ton of money in the end if you don't pay attention to it.
100%. I think if I had just like one final piece of advice,
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I don't know how you are as a homeowner. Like maybe something's broke. You want he or she, whoever's doing the service, to kind of walk in and just be like, I'll take care of it. And then you don't want to know. But really, as a new homeowner, if you want to know you're not being taken advantage of, like if you got a feeling in your gut,
Mm-hmm.
ask them to explain it. And as far as a professional in any sort of mechanical or home service, if they can't explain it simple enough for you to be confident in it, they have no idea what they're doing. And I'll die on that hill. If they can't explain IPPT to you, if they can't explain how a drum affects the turns on it, if they can't even tell you exactly how many turns go on that spring and why for that particular door, they have no idea what they're talking about, and you should call a different company.
Okay.
Cool?
Good to know. I'll just call them out on their
Yep,
on their
call them
stuff.
out. It's okay. Call A1 out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any one of them. But like I said, if they can't explain stuff simply or do it with like a passion, like they love their job, kick rocks.
Okay.
Cool?
Good to know.
Dude, it was a pleasure having you on. Any more questions? You know where I work?
That's it.